So good afternoon, students. So today I'm going to continue with the same topic, carbohydrates. That is a part 4. In the last 3 classes, you have studied about the classification of carbohydrates, then monosaccharides, interconversions of the monosaccharides, fructose, glucose, Killian-Fisher synthesis, Ruff's degradation method, and so on. In today's class, I will focusing towards the mutarotation, ring structure of D-glucose, mutarotation, and determination of ring size of the D-glucose by Haworth-Hurst method. Then we shall discuss about the perspective formula of the D-glucose. In next class, I will discuss disaccharides and polysaccharides. Today I am focusing towards only the ring structure of the D-glucose, mutarotation, then determination of ring size of the D-glucose by Haworth-Hurst method, then perspective formula of the D-glucose. As in the previous class itself, in a brief, you have studied about ring structure of the D-glucose. Why this glucose and other important monosaccharides? They exist in the cyclic form, especially in the pyranose ring form of the structures or furanose ring form of the structures. The open chain structure of the glucose has certain limitations. When you look into the structure of open chain structure of the glucose, it is consisting of an aldehyde group, second to fifth carbon atom. You will find secondary alcoholic functional groups. The last sixth carbon atom is primary alcoholic functional group. When this aldehyde group is present, we may suppose to expect that it has to undergo reactions of aldehydes. The glucose is supposed to give all the important reactions of aldehydes because of the presence of an aldehyde group. But in fact, the glucose does not react with ammonia, or glucose does not react with the bisulfite to form an addition product. Normally, when aldehydes or ketones having a functional group, that is a carbonyl group, if you take a carbonyl group, if it reacts with the ammonia or bisulfite, they form an addition product in such a way that they have to give a aldehyde ammonia derivative like this, OH and NH2. Amino derivatives are going to be formed. Suppose if you take bisulfite, soon after the reaction, if a free aldehyde group is present, it has to form a derivative like the bisulfite addition product. Okay, whenever you can take the ketones or aldehydes, if they made to react with the sodium bisulfite or ammonia, they have to form these kinds of the products. But in fact, in the glucose or in a fructose, you can take the aldehydic or ketonic functional group, they won't react with bisulfite or the ammonia. In addition to that, aldehydes and ketones usually give a test with 2,4-DNP, 2,4-dinitrophenylhydrazine. They shall give test with the 2,4-DNP. I hope in 5th semester in the compounds analysis, whenever aldehyde or ketones you can take, you will get a 2,4-DNP derivative test. That means when an aldehyde or a ketone is treated with the 2,4-DNP, it has to give a orange crystalline precipitate. But in fact, the glucose does not give any kind of precipitate with 2,4-DNP. No test is given by the glucose or fructose. Usually ketones do not respond to the 2,4-DNP test, but when you take a glucose, even it doesn't respond the 2,4-DNP test. The most important test for aldehyde group is Skipp's base, rosanilin hydrochloride test. So whenever an aldehyde is present, if it is treated with a Skipp's base, it develops a pink color. Glucose is an aldose. It is consisting of an aldehyde group. Definitely it has to give a test with a Skipp's base, but it is failure to give a test with the Skipp's reagent. So these are certain important limitations or failure towards the reactions due to aldehyde group. What it shows that aldehyde group which is present in the glucose or a ketone group which is present in the fructose, they are not a true or free type of the functional groups to respond all these kinds of the reactions. Moreover, you can see, suppose glucose, when it is made to react with glucose, when made to react with acetic anhydride, you leave this aldehyde group. It is consisting of the 4 secondary alcoholic functional group. One is a primary alcoholic functional group. Alcohols readily react with acetyl chloride or acetic anhydride. They readily form respective derivative. So here when glucose is reacting with the acetic anhydride, it is going to form a pentacetyl derivative, whether it is a glucose or a fructose. This is a fructose derivative. Suppose if you take the glucose, it is going to form glucose pentaacetate. Okay, glucose pentaacetate derivative is formed. Even hydroxylamanite it gives glucose oxime. When the glucose pentaacetate derivative or oxime derivative, when it is made to react with Tollens reagent, Fellings solution, or the Benedict's reagent, reaction is not going to be given. What it shows, this aldehyde group is not in the free state. It exists in the hemiacetal form, thereby interaction with the hydroxyl hydrogen atom of the highest numbering asymmetric carbon atom. So whatever structure is represented here, it is hemiacetal form of the structures. Even the glucose reacts with hydroxylamine to form an oxime, or if it reacts with the acetic anhydride to form the pentacetyl derivative, it doesn't give any kind of test with the Tollens reagent or the Benedict's solution, or even with the Fellings solution, Benedict's reagent, or Tollens reagent. It means the aldehyde group which is present in this series of the compounds, they are not in the free state. And moreover, the glucose exists in a 2 isomeric form, that is anomeric form, thereby differing in the configuration at the first carbon atom. That means glucose and other important monosaccharides, they exist in the hemiacetal structures. Hemiacetal means the generally aldehydes are ketones. They react with alcohols to form hemiacetals. You can see whether you can take an aldehyde or a ketone. If it is made to react with an alcohol in two molecules, they generally going to form respective acetals like this, just like diethyl ethers type of the derivatives. Oxygen to carbon linkage is usually called as ethyl derivative. So of course, when you take a glucose or fructose, they are polyhydroxy derivatives of aldehydes or ketones. Many more hydroxyl functional groups are being present. So internally, this aldehyde group would react either first or second or third or fifth, but in fact, during that interaction, it is going to form a ring structure. But it won't take the hydroxyl group from C2 or C3 or C4, because always the ring size when it is having 5 or 6 carbon atoms or 7, then it becomes more stable according to Bayer's strain theory or strainless ring theory. So therefore, the fifth carbon atom, it is going to transferring its hydrogen to aldehyde group of oxygen, so that it is going to form a ring structure. Hemiacetal form of structure is going to form. So therefore, it exists in two anomeric structures by creating a new asymmetric center, that is alpha and beta D glucose. Both are being different in their melting point and also optical rotation. When glucose was crystallized from concentrated solution, its melting point is usually 303 Kelvin, but it gives after the changes into alpha anomer, its melting point is 419 Kelvin when it is crystallized at 303 Kelvin, but optical rotation is 111 degree. The beta form, which is obtained at 371 Kelvin, where melting point is 423 Kelvin temperature for beta anomer, where you will find optical rotation is 19.2 degree. So therefore, what it shows that the aldehyde group which is present in the glucose is not a true aldehyde group. So it is exist in the hemiacetal form. Just now I shown you the reaction. Whenever aldehyde group react with alcohol, it is going to form acetal structure. Similarly, the glucose can also react with methanol. It is going to form methyl glucoside, but glucosides do not respond. Usual reactions of aldehydes are ketones. It means when a free aldehyde group is present, it would have to respond with the tolerance reagent, Fehling solution, or hydrogen cyanide, or even with the hydroxylamine. But however, it does not respond any kind of the reaction. It clearly shows that they are going to exist a cyclic form of the structure often called as hemiacetal formation, thereby interaction of the hydroxyl group of highest numbering asymmetric carbon atom to aldehydic group. So let us, you can see how the cyclic structure is going to be formed. This is one important structure where it is consisting of aldehyde group. With respect to this, it is alpha, it is beta, it is gamma, so that it is a gamma hydroxy aldehyde. Even if you take your glucose, with respect to alpha, beta, gamma, and it is delta. Gamma hydroxy aldehyde, when it undergoes cyclic hemiacetal formation, thereby interaction with the gamma carbon atom having hydroxyl group, you may going to get 5-membered ring structure, furan. Suppose it is involving delta carbon atom hydroxyl group, you may going to get pyran ring structure. Glucose is consisting of both. It is a gamma, 4th carbon atom is called gamma, 5th carbon atom is called delta. When cyclic hemiacetal structure is formed, that will take up from 4th carbon atom, you are going to get a furan ring structure, that is a furanose form. If it is going to take hydroxyl group from 5th carbon atom, it is going to form a pyranose ring structure. According to Bayer's strain theory, strainless ring theory, when size of the ring goes on increases, it becomes more and more stable, because you will find there is no angle of deviation in the larger size of the rings. So therefore, no strain in the molecule, then it becomes more stable. That's why the glucose preferably exists in pyranose form rather than the furanose form, because there is an availability of the delta carbon atom of the hydroxyl group where it is interacting with aldehydic derivative. So therefore, it is exist in the pyranose ring structure. I hope you understand this. So this is the way you have to represent cyclic structures for the glucose. This is a open chain structure of the glucose. It is open chain structure of the glucose. Here you will find this is an aldehyde group, second, third, fourth, fifth secondary alcoholic, and last one is a primary alcoholic. In their aqueous solution, it is undergo cyclic hemiacetal formation, so that it takes up a hydrogen atom from highest numbering asymmetric, that is the fifth carbon atom. This H is transferring to oxygen, so that a new asymmetric center has been created, because initially it is a planar sp2 hybridized. As soon as this hydrogen atom is transferring to the first carbon, aldehydic carbon, that is taken up by oxygen group, it makes as a OH group, so that you will get the two isomeric forms of the glucose. In one case, the configuration of OH is on the right side, that is called alpha. In another case, OH group is on the left side, it is called as a beta. So therefore, at the point of an equilibrium in their aqueous solution, whether you can take a glucose or fructose, they exist in two important anomeric forms, thereby creating new asymmetric center, alpha and beta. Alpha, beta, they are the anomers, the carbon atom wherein the configuration of H and OH are being changed. In the first carbon atom, they are called anomeric carbon atoms. Okay, anomeric carbon atoms. So here capital D represents the relative configuration, the positive sign which is indicating the magnitude of optical rotation, because it is a dextrorotatory derivative. Whatever representation is here, these are nothing but Fisher projection formulae. Later, to simplify them, because in most of the naturally occurring compounds, you can take nucleic acids and other important derivatives, you will find either furanose or the pyranose ring form of the structures of the glucose. Whether you can take 2-deoxyribose or ribonucleic acid and so on, you will find that the 5-membered or 6-membered the structures of the carbohydrates. So that's why Haworth has represented based on Fisher projection formulae. They are nothing but Haworth ring structures or Haworth projections. While representing Haworth ring structures or Haworth projections, you should remember that those groups which have been present on the right side of the Fisher projections, they always represented below the plane of ring. Say, for example, you can take the first carbon, HOH. OH is on the right side. That's why here OH is represented down to the configuration or below the plane of the ring. H is on the left side, so H is above the plane it is. And similarly, other groups are also being represented. In alpha D plus glucose, the first carbon atom, here OH group is below the plane. But CS2 group is a larger group, is always going to exist above the plane, so therefore it is represented. Sixth carbon atom, that is CS2, which is above the plane. This is alpha D plus glucopyranose, because it exists in pyron ring form. This is beta, where OH configuration is a different, which is above the plane, because when you look into the structure of this one, OH is on the left side. So therefore, Haworth has represented ring structures for glucose or fructose based on Fisher projections of hemiacetal structures. You should remember those groups which have been present on the right side, they shall be represented down to the plane or below the plane. Those groups which have been present left side, they must be presented above the plane of the ring. Okay, so this is how the glucose and fructose have been represented in cyclic structures. The Norman Haworth, he proposed the ring structures for the glucose and fructose based on the Fisher's projections of hemiacetal structures, what we are discussing now. Similarly, it is also fructose, in which first and last carbon atoms are primary alcoholic, third to fifth same configuration as to that of the glucose, and here you will find the second carbon atom is a keto functional group. With respect to keto, we will find alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. Suppose ring structure is going to formed from this delta carbon atom, where it is takes up, it is exist in the 5-membered furanose structure. Of course, fructose can be represented in 6-membered ring, but in fact, when we take some important compounds, the fructose exists in membered furanose structure. Say, for example, you can take glucose, there you will find a 5-membered ring structure, glucose. So therefore, it is also existing in alpha and beta form, where we can say it is alpha D plus D minus fructofuranose, because it is a levorotatory compound, OH is below the plane. In another case, you will find beta D minus fructofuranose, where OH is on the above the plane. OH, this is the first carbon, it is the second carbon. Second carbon, OH is below the plane. Second carbon, OH is above the plane. So this is how the ring structures have been explained for the monosaccharides like glucose and fructose. Have you understand this?
Yes,
Have you
sir.
understand? Okay, fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now we shall move towards one of the most important property, and it is also a supportive property towards explanation of the ring structures of the glucose. Muta rotation. Muta means change. Spontaneous change in specific rotation of an optically active compound with time to an equilibrium value is called muta rotation. Already you have studied the properties of both alpha and beta ionomers. Alpha D glucose has optical rotation plus 111. Beta is possessing plus 19.2 degree. When they dissolved in water and allowed to stand for some time, they slowly get converted into a form that is equilibrium mixture of both alpha and beta D glucose, where alpha glucose is existing about 36%, where beta is existing about 64%. Why this gradual change has been taken place? When you study about their crystalline formation, alpha D glucose has specific rotation of plus 111 degree, beta D glucose has plus 19.2 degree. Okay, when alpha form is dissolved in water, its specific rotation falls. Slowly it will decreases until attains a constant value of rotation, that is 52.5 degree. When a glucose is dissolved in water, when it is going to form its a particular structure or equilibrium structure, so that specific rotation falls until it attains a constant value of 52 degree 5 minutes. On the other hand, beta form, when it is dissolved in water, it attains a state of equilibrium, so that it increases its optical rotation from plus 19 degree 2 minutes to 52 degree 5 minutes. When you look into this equilibrium constants in the value, this will gradually decreases, and here it is increases. So therefore, this spontaneous change in optical rotation with the time to an equilibrium value, this representation is usually called as the muta rotation. Graphically, it is represented. Initially, alpha D glucose has plus 112 degree. When it is recrystallized from water or pyridine, when beta D glucose, when it is recrystallized from the alcohol, you will find different the concentrations. The alpha, it is slowly decreasing, where plus 52 degree, it is existing about only 38%. Time to an equilibrium, its value, constant value is obtained 52 degree 5 minutes. And beta D glucose, its optical rotation is increases from plus 19.2 minutes to 62% it is. That is by attaining a constant value. So this is supposed to be called as the muta rotation. What it clearly shows that glucose exists in two anomeric form, cyclic structures, alpha and beta, thereby changing the configuration at first carbon atom in alpha form OH is right side or below the plane, where in beta form OH is the right side. Why beta form exists in larger percentage? That we shall discuss in the perspective formula. Why always beta form is more stable and all. Okay, so this is about ring structure of the glucose and the muta rotation property. Then perspective formula of the glucose. Perspective means representation of two-dimensional structures into three-dimensional structures. Fisher projections are two-dimensional structures, but Haworth ring structures, what we represented, they are perspective formula. Later, Haworth ring structures in which glucose is represented in a cyclic hexagon structures, but according to Sachet-Moore theory, when a size of the ring or a structure of the ring is consisting of more than 5 carbon atoms, they are never going to be forced to exist in the same plane. Same plane means when they lost their planarity, angle of deviation is going to take in place. When angle of deviation is larger, larger is the strain in the molecule. But in fact, the 6-membered or 7-membered rings, they are not exist in the planar form. They exist in a puckered form. No one group is forced to exist in the same plane to deviate from normal tetrahedral angle value. So that this 6-membered hexagon structure which exists in puckered ring structure, that is chair or boat conformation, thereby retaining normal tetrahedral angle values. When normal tetrahedral angle value is retained, the groups are not going to be undergo any kind of repulsive forces of interaction, then they are becoming more stable. That's why Haworth ring representation is more prominent and evidence to represent the structures of glucose and other important monosaccharides. They are nothing but a perspective formula. The Haworth ring structures later they have been presented in a cyclic, that is a chair and boat conformation, but boat conformation is always unstable than the chair conformation because they undergo axial interaction in the boat conformation, that steric hindrance is going to be caused, and because of the bulkier interactions of the OH group or CS2OH group, and that becomes highly unstable. But in fact, we have represented the chair conformations for the glucose. As already you know that the glucose exists in alpha and beta form. So therefore, in alpha anomer, the OH group is below the plane, wherein it is towards the axial position. In a beta form, in the first carbon atom, OH is on the above the plane, where it is exist in the equatorial position. Equatorial positions. One thing you should remember, you can see here the glucose in which OH group is below the plane, okay, but it is in the axial direction. Axial means you can see here this point of representation is going to be given. Okay, this is axial, it is equatorial. When you draw this particular positions of the ring, it is a planar ring structure. So OH is in the towards direction of the axial position. So in alpha anomer, at the first carbon, the OH is on the axial position. And this OH on the second carbon atom, of course it looks like a same, but in fact, when you write the equatorial positions, it is representing present on the equatorial. Remaining all groups are in equatorial position, bulkier groups, except the first carbon atom of the OH, which is on the axial position. When you take beta anomer, all bulkier groups are in the equatorial positions. All bulkier groups. The first carbon atom of OH group, when you draw this, it is not in the axial position, because you can see here. It is in the axial, not in axial direction. It is in the equatorial direction. So OH is on the equatorial position. This OH is also equatorial. This OH group is also equatorial position. It is also equatorial position. Whenever groups have been present, bulkier groups at equatorial position, steric hindrance is less, repulsive interactions is very less. But when any one of the bulkier group which is going to be present on axial position, that would cause us a steric repulsion. So that's why, according to mutarotation phenomenon, beta D plus glucose, in which all groups are in equatorial position, it is becoming more stable. It is a preferred one. It is a hard 64% which is going to existing. 64%. Okay. Whereas in case of alpha D glucopyranose, the one of the OH group is on the axial position, that would cause a steric repulsion. So therefore, it is hardly about 36%. That's why when you go to the mutarotation phenomenon, the optical rotation for beta D glucose, which is going to be changing from plus 19 degree 2 units to a constant value of 52.5, where it exists in a 64%. So all these representation were representing the three-dimensional structures for glucose. They are nothing but perspective formula. In another sense, they are also going to be presented like this: solid wedge formula. This is a Fisher projection. This is a bond line representation. And these are also nothing but the perspective formula of the glucose. But in fact, whatever a six-membered ring, Haworth six-membered ring, and the cyclic, that is chair conformations represented, these are nothing but the perspective formulae of the glucose. Okay. So among these, the beta anomer is more stable rather than the alpha anomer. Okay. So this is all about ring structures of the glucose and mutarotation. The last point is, how do you justify the glucose exists in six-membered pyranose form? What is the evidence for this? It could be explained on the basis of determination of ring size of glucose by Haworth-Hurst method or Hunt's method. Haworth-Hurst method is the involving formation of methyl glycoside formation followed by oxidation and all. But whereas Hunt's method is involving periodic oxidation method. In the Haworth-Hurst method, this is according to your syllabus only. In a Haworth-Hurst method, the glucose, when first it reacts with the methanol in the presence of hydrochloric acid, the enolic form of this aldehyde group, it is going to form the methyl glucoside. One methyl glucoside is going to be formed. Subsequently, this methyl glucoside, here methyl beta D plus glucoside is taken because this is becoming more stable. That's why it is taken according to Chair-Boat conformations. Methyl beta D plus glucoside, when treated with dimethyl sulfate in alkaline medium, all hydroxyl functional groups of this hemiacetal structure would react to form methyl 2,3,4,6 tetra O-methyl. O-methyl means this oxygen linkage. This oxygen linkage. Second carbon, because OH group is free. Third carbon, OH group is free. Fourth carbon, OH group is free. Fifth carbon is also OH group is free. They would react with the dimethyl sulfate, undergo methylation to form 2,3,4,6 tetra O-methyl. This O-methyl group it is. O-methyl oxygen linkage, and methyl beta D plus glucoside is going to form. this 2346 tetra-O-methyl beta D glucoside in the acidic medium, it will change its configuration. It undergoes hydrolysis. It means enolic form of the structure is going to be ruptured where it is converted into aldehydic form. It means this part will undergo hydrolysis, but remaining groups cannot undergo hydrolysis because they are becoming more stable. This first carbon atom of this glucosidic structure would undergo hydrolysis to form beta 2346 tetra-O-methyl D plus glucose. When it is get oxidized, because during hydrolysis, this first carbon and the fifth carbon atom, that oxygen linkage will get hydrolyzed to retain their configurations. When they get oxidized in presence of nitric acid, the most susceptible group is fifth carbon atom, having H and OH group, secondary alcoholic functional group. It readily oxidized to form ketonic functional group. At the same time, aldehyde group is converted into carboxyl group. A intermediate ketoic acid is formed. Intermediate ketoic acid is formed. Suppose when it is subjected for bond cleavage, if cleavage is going to taking place at a C5C6, this ketone to this group, you will find there is a formation of trimethoxyglutaric acid. C5C6 oxidative cleavage. This is called oxidative cleavage. Here you will find during oxidative cleavage, you will find that COH is already there, remaining 3 carbon atoms, but ketonic group, it will eliminate as a carbon dioxide. This part will be converted as COH group. Okay, so oxidative cleavage representing trimethoxyglutaric acid. Suppose when oxidative cleavage is going to taking place at the fourth carbonate, C4, C5 positions, in such case, you will get the succinic acid, dimethoxysuccinic acid. Succinic acid is a dihydroxycarboxylic acid it is, but here hydroxyl groups have been converted into a ether derivative form, that is methoxy group is going to be present. So therefore, dimethoxysuccinic acid. What it indicates that when glucose is forming a 6-membered pyranose ring structure, when a cleavage is going to taking place C5C6 carbon atom, you will positively forming as trimethoxyglutaric acid. If exist in 5-membered ring structure, it is possible, but in fact the glucose is stable in a 6-membered pyranose ring structure. Even you can see here, if it is 5-membered furanose ring structure, same sequence of reactions have been taken place, but cleavage, in earlier case, you find that cleavage, if it is taking place at C5, C6, C4, C5, you will find formation of trimethoxyglutaric acid, dimethoxysuccinic acid. But when it is, if it is existing in a 5-membered furanose ring form, cleavage may going to taking place at C3, C4, C4, C5. There you will find one is a methoxymalonic acid, another is a dimethoxysuccinic acid. That means one of the carbon atom at this position is lost. So what it indicates, it is not possible for the glucose, because the glucose, it is evidenced even on the basis of X-ray photographic analysis, enzymatic reaction, it always being exist in a 6-membered the glucose formation, that is pyranose ring structure, because the first oxidative cleavage that will representing the 6-member, why glucose is existing in the 6-membered ring structure. Among the 6-membered ring structures of the glucose, the beta anomer is more stable. So this is how Haworth-Hurst he presented the determination of the ring structure for the glucose. In fact, here all reactions have been shown with respect to Fischer projections to make it as an easy to write. But if you write in chair and conformation, it is somewhat difficult. So therefore, we have represented in the Fischer projections. this you can practice and you can write. It is one full question they will ask in the examination. Okay, so this is the determination of ring structure of the glucose. And even you can also practice by Hunt's method, that is oxidative, periodate oxidative method, and again followed by hydrolysis. It is a very simple one, but in fact it is not there for your syllabus. Just you can have to have an idea about this. Here the beta D plus alpha D glucose, when subjected for methylation reaction with methyl alcohol, it undergoes methyl glucoside, where periodic oxidation is taking place at C4 and C3C4. You will find formic acid and other important components. When followed by the hydrolysis and further oxidation, you will get a D-glyceric acid and all. But this won't presenting for the six-membered ring. But however, it could explain six-membered ring structure for the glucose. You need not worry about this Hunt's method. You suppose if it exists in furanous form, here you will find a D-glyceric acid and the aldehydic carboxylic acid. But here you will find another different one. Okay, so but Haworth-Hurst method is very, very important, what we have seen in the previous slides. You can explain all these important reactions. You could justify why it exists in the six-membered cyclic structure. So this is all about the determination of size of the ring of glucose, mutarotation, and cyclic structures of the glucose. With this, all important properties, reactions, and classification of monosaccharides have been completed. In the next class, maybe next class will be the end for this particular topic, where we shall discuss about disaccharides and the polysaccharides. Okay, if you have any doubts, you can ask the questions. Any questions from your side regarding ring structure or the determination of size of the ring? Illa andre illa anta helbodu. Any questions from your side? Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Any doubts?
No, sir.
Any doubts are there? Okay. Okay. Shall I exit from the class?
Okay, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.